Good morning, or good afternoon, or good middle of the night. It better not be the middle of the night. If you're watching this live and it's the middle of the night, go to bed. You can watch this later. Hello. Tammy, you're after my own heart. I was just about to say, can y'all imagine? This is week 5. Of course, the big thing I want to put. Oh, if you're just joining us, hello. We're running a completely free programming boot camp based around free code camp. So it's all designed to be super, super free. And the big thing I want to push is there are no deadlines. Nothing bad is going to happen. These are live streams that we'll do for 6 weeks, but then the videos will stay up on Class Central. Thank you, up on the Class Central properties. There's no deadlines. There's no way to fail. Nothing bad is going to happen. It's project based, and you could come back in 2 weeks and finish, or you could come back in 12 weeks, or you know what? I don't want to promise the state of the world after 12 weeks, but as far as the internet's not going away, free code camp's not going away, right? And some of you are saying, oh no, the boot camp's ending. I bet, Ramon, you're right there. I bet money that you'll still see Ramon and I streaming some in between the next boot camp and this. Yeah, probably a little bit less. So we're in here in free code camp. Everything's fine and everything's going to be fine. We're coming into that response that we're in this all the time these days. This is so familiar. And one thing we're going to do is we're going to take a deep breath and come way down because of course, y'all have done more than me, but we've covered a lot. And we talked about technical documentation project on Wednesday. And one thing we're going to do is we're going to, oh wow, there's not much left at all, is there? Ooh, there's this week. So today we'll do some more art, and then we'll talk about CSS grid tomorrow, which I think is going to be really exciting. And then on Wednesday, we're going to do our second to last project. The last one's the most important. And this week on Thursday, we're going to have a very dear friend of mine, Parham, come and speak to us. And I'm excited about Parham because he's going to be able to talk to us a lot about. So he's the head of accessibility over at booking.com. That's so impressive, but also a full-time screen reader user. So he's going to be able to talk to more art. Ooh, kind of a Gothamy feel. He's going to be able to talk to us about writing good alt text or how to structure things semantically in a way that's really, really solid. Let me start coding. All right. And some of this we are just going to bop through. When I say we're going to bop through, I mean, I'm going to have to look up that, how we do the sizing. I always do. But it's completely, we're going to do our doc type HTML. We've got our green stripe. Everything's fine. Cool. It says doing our opening and closing HTML. You know what? I love this about this new curriculum. Add the opening and closing HTML tags. So we have a place to start putting our code. We get that context. Be sure to set the language to English. It's not telling us how. We've done this a couple of times. And if we forget, I could just go ahead and search for set language to English HTML, and I bet that would tell me. So by now, some of these might feel a lot more familiar, but if they don't, that's fine too. We're going to do a head and a body tag inside our HTML element. And head is at the top. We're going to open and close it. Everything's fine. We're going to open a body. We're going to close a body. Sound a bit like a mortician. We've got that green stripe. Our lives continue to be chill. Oh, cool. We've got this little pop-up saying, hey, you know what? If you wanted to. So the bootcamp's always free. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to cost money. Free Code Camp, the folks who make the curriculum, are separate folks, and they're a registered nonprofit. If you ever wanted to donate to them, wait until you have the money. Like, don't donate until you don't have it. But if you get the swishiest fancy job out of here and you want to give back, I would donate to Free Code Camp because you can't donate to us. So we're going to have a meta element that sets our care set. We're going to set that to UTF-8 just because that's the standard modern encoding. And then we're going to set up a title tag as well. And a link. The link rel is style sheet. What we're doing here, if you remember, is we're saying, hey, I want to, the browser's parsing my HTML file, it needs to know where to go find my CSS file for those style rules as well. And the ref here, where you're throwing the chain that links to the other resource, the other file, is styles.css. I know I'm the last person. I'm always way behind the curve. But I did see that new movie with Harry Styles in it, which is a very tenuous link, isn't it? I'm going to come in here, and the title is City Skyline. I'm going to check our code. We've got a green stripe. Nothing bad is happening to us. Okay. Oh, we're in our CSS. Remember that somebody in the chat reminded me that the way we say this is wild card. That's such a nice way to say this. So a wild card lets us select all of something. Say, hey, go ahead and give me anything. I say, okay, well, I'm going to give a border of 1 pixel, solid and black. And that's going to be around everything I see. Logan, after my own heart, say, hey, a wild card. Give me that little tiny star. Little tiny star. I like to remember the wild card as a star because you wish upon a star, and it's the easiest way to do everything at once. Oh, I wish I could just do all of this at once. The wild card is the star. So us setting the border, we're not going to leave a border around everything, but this is going to trace a black border around all of our elements, and that's going to be pretty useful for seeing where stuff lands. Oh, you all had Miguel as a guest session on Thursday. How was that? Miguel is so smart and cool, isn't he? So we're also going to set a box sizing. A border box. Ooh, Kai's pointing out, oh, HTML body and body here both have a border. Border box. Hey, because there's not really much else yet, is there? So that's all we've got here. That's set to border box. Okay. So that means the border we have isn't going to add any more size to our elements. So it's going to sort of accurately show us where they're sitting. Okay. So we see the body has a box around the HTML element. We're going to make our body fill the whole viewport by giving it a height of 100 view height. So we're going to stretch it out so it's taking up all of the view height. We can do that. And then we're also going to set the margin to 0. So say, hey, it's terrible because even with, that's a very graceful face, isn't it? It's hard to see because it's just a tiny black line, but there's a little tiny gap around here, and that's our default margin. We're going to get rid of that. So let's come in and do a type selector for body. Chill. And first, we're going to set our height to 100 view height. Okay. We're going to set our margin to 0. We can do that. Oh, heck. Sorry, I seem to be allergic to my own house, which is exhausting. And then we're going to set the overflow to hidden. So this little baby scroll bar we have right here, we're going to get rid of it. And today we're just going to go for about an hour. It's going to be super chill. So we're probably not going to do a break today just because I'm super mean. I'm going to set that to hidden. We saw that pop out, vanish. We test it. We've got that green stripe. We can keep going. Everything's fine. Time to start drawing some boxes. A div with a class. And a class suggests that we're probably going to use this more than once, huh? And oh, heck, we close our... No, I'm going to copy and paste this just because y'all didn't spend your good quality time watching me fumble about. Cool, the class is background buildings. We've got a green stripe. Let's bop along. So here we're back in our CSS. And usually it's a pretty good sign that we're back in our CSS when we see those curly babies, huh? We're going to use our class selector. So remember, a full stop for stop. Here are the rules for this club, this class. Background. Oh, wait, I've just copied this so I can just paste. Background buildings. Get my curly babies out. I'm going to set a width. 100%. That's chill. And I'm going to set a height. 100%. Also chill. Okay, so that's gone ahead and spread all the way out. I think that's all we have to do. We've got a green stripe. That's all we have to do. Now let's go ahead and get another div. I think we're probably going to do a lot of divs, yeah? The div with a class that is equal to bb1, maybe building one. I like this step because it says, okay, make your div, and I'll close it. I'll close my div. I'll close it. Also, come over here and view CSS too. I'm going to get rid of my preview for a second, just so we can see all of this a little bit better. So we've just made this div class bb1. Okay, we're going to come right over here, and this is going to feel, oh, heck, this is going to feel like I'm doing it wrong because I didn't have the little full stop for stop. Here's the rules for the club. So width, ooh, our width here is going to be 10%. Okay. Our height is 70. That's the parent element. Oh, so here it says BB. BB stands for background building. It's going to be our first building. I've taken away, because I'm terrible, I've taken away the preview. What's going to happen? I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to get a drink of water. What will we see on this preview? Nothing? Abba. And this is sometimes a question you get in interviews where they'll give you a piece of code and say, what would you see on the screen here? Or what would this do? What do you think this is going to do on the screen? Yes, I am asking you questions so I can have a drink of water. The worst teacher. I'm going to get rid of this HTML. We've got our CSS here. Oh, it doesn't feel right, does it? I expected a little box. It's green though. Ooh. Cassium's like, it's got the height and width. Perfect. It's got this height and width, but there's no color. I secretly expected the borders, but I'm not seeing the borders here either. Although this says it's green, I bet next step. Mitch is saying we'd have to put our second div in the first div to see it. Maybe. Oh, wait, to pass? Oh, this let us pass even though it shouldn't have. Oh no. Somebody remind me to raise an issue. Yeah, okay, that's what I expected. Okay, because y'all are like, I can see a box. This is what I expected, where I was like, oh, maybe there's some unexpected behavior. Maybe it fixes it next step. No, I just did it a little bit goofy because I hate to read the instructions. Yeah. So setting the border and everything gave us these stripes. Oh, Kai points out like, well, it'll give you that green stripe even if you don't indent. I know. And if you do ever want to clean up your code, you can right click for format document, which sort of zips our code and turns it very pretty. We're going to go to the next challenge, and y'all keep me honest because I expected the little box. And when it didn't give me a little box, I was like, well, clearly I'm wrong. Not free code camp. That's me. We're going to put 4 divs inside the BB1 container. We're actually going to nest them this time. What's another way to say these are nested inside BB1? Ramon's like, what? You can format document? Yeah, it's pretty great. Just right click. And yeah, Rami, this is so right. You say, well, we got that block because we put a border around everything. We absolutely, and this is going to let us sort of draw where we want stuff first. It's going to be great. I'm really bad at CSS art, but I really like it. So I'm always really excited about it. Div. No. You know what? I'm very lazy. I'm proudly lazy. I'm going to do all of that. So they all want classes. Ooh, and all their classes are called BB1 something. I'm going to copy this first. BB1, 2, 3, 4. 4 child divs inside the parent div. BB1A, BB1B, BB1C, BB1. I know how the alphabet goes. It's just saying stuff out loud sometimes trips you up. We've got a green stripe. Everything's fine. Everything's easy. Okay, somebody's asking to see the format document again. Does it show? Hang on, let me see if it shows on the screen when I do this. So if I come in here and I right click, and this might just be in Chrome. and I come to format document here, way, it'll go ahead and format this out. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that chill? We're going to go on to our next challenge. This says, look, come on, y'all. We're going to go ahead and build out some rules. So .bb1, somebody was pointing out this is an ADHD nightmare for naming. And yes, I'm in hell. no, I'm in heck. Width, height. If anybody's worried, oh, hey, you know what? We mentioned, so we're going to set rules for all of these. So I'm going to do the same thing again and just copy my BB1 4 times. Yeah. I know Robbie was saying like, oh no, this is such a long one. This is such a long one. I'm really sorry, my love. So here we're going to start with BB1A, and our width is 70% and 10%. I think as these start showing up, ooh, 10%. As these start showing up, they're going to look kind of weird because they're all located sort of on top of each other, aren't they? We see this one inside of this one. I think the next one's going to be under it. Is that right? Let's check and see. BB1B. Let's give you 80 and 10. Yeah. Oh, so that came in right under that. Cool. Yeah. BB1C is 90 and 10. Okay, we can do this. And you notice when I first push the 90, we get a little tiny thing. And that's because by default, if you don't specify a size, it thinks you mean pixels. So here, 90 pixels was bigger than 90% of the parent element, and it extended beyond it. There's a lot of weird ways to screw up a little bit in CSS, which kind of makes, hey, Logan. Oh, it sounds like we're probably going to do some position absolute because I am the worst teacher in the world and very mean to you all. Can somebody who's not me remind the class what position absolute does? That just lets me keep typing as well. I think the height are just 10% on. Heck, BB1. Whoever pointed out that this was going to be very frustrating for folks with some kinds of neurodivergence. Yes. And B1C. Oh, 90 and 10 is up here. And then 100%, 70%. Logan, look at you getting extra credit in a class that doesn't give any extra credit. Logan's like, you know what it does is when you set position absolute, it removes that object or those objects from the document flow. That there's sort of a natural flow that HTML is like, I got you. I know where you want this. But when you say, hey, I want position absolute, you say, you know what, here's a hall pass. This element or these elements are excused from the normal document flow. You know, I probably got these numbers wrong. The code passes were fine. No more. We don't have to think about it. Oh, look at this. We're going to do some flexbox. That's chill. We're going to give all of our BB1, we're going to give our BB1 elements. Ooh, so instead of going into the bottom, we're going to give this one display flex. So, hey, we're going to use some flexbox. Flex direction. Remember, the flex direction is by default horizontal. Oh, and we see that. So once we said, hey, I want to get involved with using Flexbox for this parent, all of the children, everybody nested inside, should go ahead and follow Flexbox rules. And as soon as we did that, it said, cool, your default Flexbox rules are horizontal. I'm just going to go ahead and roll these out for you. And I say, I don't actually want that. I want these in a column. Check that. Oh, that does look like this is looking a little bit like a building. And now I want to align items. This is looking increasingly like this, isn't it? We're looking a little bit like a building. We're going to check our code. We got a green stripe. Stuff continues to be okay. So we're going to do some variables. Ramon, if you're still here, can you talk to us about what a variable, just in the chat, or I can go get you and drag you on. So variables exist in JavaScript too. Variables are kind of a reasonably universal a reasonably universal concept in programming. And these are really, really nice for saying, hey, when I think of a variable, I should have brought it with me. I think of a variable as an empty box. You say, that's weird, Jess. I don't need to program with boxes. I say, hold on. I like to think of a variable as an empty box, which you can then write a name on. Yeah. And then you put in the box. So when you next use that variable name, what you're doing, hey, Ramon is explaining the exact same way as me. So you conceptually, a variable is when you get a box, you write a name on the box, and then you put stuff in the box. And when your program or when your website comes by and sees this variable name, what you're saying is, hey, browser, or hey, program, go find this box and then use all the stuff that I put in this box. I used to use a real messy, so variable declarations. So the way we make a box, we make a box with 2 dashes. So here, in the rule, and this gets to be hard as well. So where you create your variables will determine where you can use them. I think that, and Ramon is going to have to back me up on this, I think that gets very tricky in JavaScript, where if you make a box and you can't use it in other places, it can be very frustrating. Where are we? Where am I? Who are we? So I'm going to make a variable name here, and it's going to be called building color. And y'all are going to have to get me and make sure that I do not do any more British spellings. The building color here is 999. Oh, 999. That didn't do a heckin' thing. Why did this not do a single thing? So, right now for BB1, I said, I want to give you this width. I want to give you this height. I'm just going to talk you through the code. So get our width and height. Here I want to say, hey, I want all of my children, everybody nested inside me. Kai, you're perfect. Well, because so far all we've done is say, hey, I want this box to have the name building color, and I want it to contain this color of gray, but we haven't painted it. We haven't used it. We haven't referenced it yet. It's super chill. So here we said flex. Here I say, hey, when you're arranging these flexbox dot, when it uppy downy, please align them in the center. And now I'm just saying, I have created a box. It's named building color, and it contains this gray. I bet we're gonna Logan. It sounds like I'm picking on you, but like every single day I discover a new British spelling and then I have to go lie down. Our code doesn't pass. Oh, it's building color 1, which I think. Yeah. And Carlos makes a good point. Like, mercifully, gray and gray are both keywords for color. So this is the one time that CSS is really, really solid and be like, some of y'all are going to spell this different. I got you. We're going to pop on to the next challenge. Okay. So now to use a variable, we say var. And var is kind of like giving somebody a heads up. So if we picture CSS doing some work, when it gets to the var, that's like us yelling, yo, get ready to go get a box. And we can do that. So here, to use a variable, we say var and then specify the variable name. So we're inside, and this is going to be really important. Here's wait. That's not very helpful. No, wait. Let's look at where we are. Wait. Goodbye, preview. There we are. That's going to be helpful. So this BB1, those background building one contains all of these children. Yeah. And that means when we've created, I might be wrong. I'm wrong a lot. I think that creating a variable in BB1 means that it'll be available to use in all of its children. I'm not sure we're going to be able to use it outside it. And what do we do when we're not sure? Is we get weird. Oh, Ramon's asked a really good question to be like, is it the same gray? Let's check that too. Let's check two weird things just to be weird. But the big thing I wanted to point out real fast is BB1. All of these chunks of the building exist within it. Let's goodbye index, come back preview. Let's do that. Body. First, let's check these two grays. Color. Hey, gray. Ooh, that is the same color. Okay. But what if I want to say my background color? Because I want to see if we can use this variable outside of its parent. So I want to say var. And now it says, I don't know what you want yet. All you've told me is to get ready to go get a box. And here's var. Here's the basket. I'm going to carry the box back in. And what was this variable even called? Building color 1. And I'm going to do this as the background color of the body just to see if I'm able to use it here. Oh, that didn't do a thing. That didn't do a thing. So this is a problem with inheritance. And those of you who are doing JavaScript are going to do JavaScript. Inheritance, Ramon, back. Is it going to come up a lot? It's going to come up a lot. So here, oh, Carlos, another way to say that is this is a scope problem. If you are programming, you are going to hit a scope problem roughly every single day, or at least I do. And the issue is that what we've done is we said, hey, BB1 is the child of body, but we've declared, we've created this box inside BB1. Oh, Ramon says JavaScript is doing inheritance tomorrow. Spoiler for y'all. So here the problem is BB1 knows about this box. BB1 has the box. And only its children can inherit knowledge of the box. BB1's not going to tell its mama about the box. It doesn't have to do that. So when we try and use this variable here, it just doesn't work. It's very frustrating, isn't it? This is going to be something that happens again and again and again in programming. After typos, it's my second favorite thing to make a mistake with. So BB1A, let's go ahead. Do you think it'll work here? Yeah, because a child can inherit from its parent. That's fine. Yeah, Carlos is perfect. You say, do you know what this feels like? Function scope in JavaScript. It's the same sort of, and if y'all haven't done JavaScript, you don't have to. There's no obligation. It's not going to hurt you. And if you haven't heard of this before, that's fine as well. Just every now and again, I like to preview a word to say, hey, and Carlos is doing fantastic. You'd be like, you're probably going to hear about this again. Yeah. Let's check. We've got a green stripe. Everything's fine. And I'm going a little bit slow on the important parts, which is, hey, cool. Inheritance exists and it's weird. I'm copying and pasting this into the other BBC1 E, C, and Ds. Amazing. Yeah, Ramia, you know what, Ramia? Someday I'm going to bully you to teach this instead of me. So Ramia, just rephrase this in a way that's so understandable to say, oh, we're creating the color variable in its parent and then calling it in its children. And these are really, really great. These are perfect technical language. I'm going to create a variable means I'm going to speak it into existence. I'm going to make fetch happen. Oh, nope, I'm too old and y'all don't know what that means. So calling a variable, making the box. No, creating the variable, the box, calling a variable, getting the box, and using the stuff in the box. I'm so sorry. I think it feels like I'm picking on you a lot, but you consistently rephrase things in ways that are so useful. We got a green stripe. None of this can hurt us, even when we screw it, even when I screw it up. Even when stuff doesn't go perfectly right, it's fine. So we're going to talk about ooh, ha ha ha, Kai. I promise Kai's not actually a plant who's been sent here to ask questions at just the right time. So Kai's saying, well, you know what? Why is it better to set these colors with a variable instead of just specifying the color? Perfect. And then as you ask this question, immediately you answer it in the most correct way possible. You say, oh, is it important to use a variable? Because that way I can change all of these at the same one if I change my mind. You are so durably and effably correct. So this means I say, you know what? This gray just doesn't really work for me. I want to change them all at the same time. And as a lazy programmer, I've used a variable. So I'm going to change this to, and this is a hex code. Linda's apologizing for being late. Don't you ever. This is your time and it is just a joke. Oh, I like this so much more. We're going to check our code. It says, perfect. I wanted you to have a purple building. Says the first building looks good. Let's do 3 new div elements inside background buildings. Oh, and Jeff makes another solid point. As a lazy person, I focused on the laziness. Jeff, do you teach in your day job? You're absolutely fantastic at this. And saying, you know what, it's also really useful to know why a particular value is used somewhere. Earlier, we talked about how the BBC, BB1, BB1A are kind of hellish, are challenging names for folks with ADHD, maybe, but they're not very human readable. Maybe if I had some comments saying, "Oh, this means background building component ABC," but just saying, "Hey, variables, well named variables," and that's going to come up all the time. But if you name your variables well, you can see at a glance and say, "Oh, hey, that's a background building color is really helpful." So let's make sure. So we want to be inside background buildings, div class background buildings. Is that in here? BB2, BB3. I know what we're gonna do. So we're here inside of the background buildings class. And this is really hard because here it gives us a line on 18, but we need to come up to 16 to make this happen. And here we want to create 3 new divs, nest them, make them children of, actually, no, I'm completely wrong, my loves. I was telling you to thank you. Mitch is so patient. You're like, Jess, it's not trying to trick you. You're on the wrong line. Thank you. So here I tried to put this inside the closing div for BB1, and that's not what we're doing. Here's the closing div for background buildings. So I'm going to come in here. Whew, whew, whew. This is quite a good joke. Do you mind if I steal it? Jeff is saying, well, you know what? The 2 hardest things in computer science are cache and validation, which you don't have to worry about yet, naming things, which we're talking about right now, and off by 1 errors. So errors where your count of something is off by 1, making this a very nerdy joke that you can use. Oh no, do we want to start introducing bad tech jokes in here? We'll have to talk about TCP/IP someday because there's a very bad knock-knock joke that goes with it. So we're going to make 3 new divs. We got this. And we don't need that and. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that. If here, we're going to set a class. And because we are, I don't mean to denigrate y'all. I think being lazy is kind of cool. But because we are very, very relaxed, I'm going to go ahead and just take this div class BB and it closing and copy it 2 more times and say, okay, I'm going to add this 2 to make it BB2, this 3 to make it BB3, and this 4 to make it BB4. Let's bob. Oh no, y'all are not gonna make me start classes with bad tech jokes. No. How about every time I have a joke for the specific thing we're gonna study, I'll do the bad joke. And Jeff, if you're gonna be around, you do the other bad jokes for me. Where are we? Where are we? Cool. Let's give him some width and height. Oh no, it's the same thing, isn't it? Oh, and Carlos makes a really good point to say BB is a baby or a drink in Spanish. This is a little bit more confused. So background building tracks really medium well if you're a native English speaker. um, but it's unnecessarily confusing for somebody who isn't. For me, a BB is a curly bracer, a pointy bracer, a cat. Oh, Kenjo, let's be efficient. Copy. Yeah, let's be efficient. Copy and paste the whole code. So the class BB2, our curly babies. And did you know Kenjo here in the chat is my colleague who's helping out? Kinja, I'm going to embarrass you because I'm always so proud of you. And there's really, it's completely out of pocket for me to be proud of you. I have no purchase on your success, but you did one of these boot camps and you've been studying so hard and you do so much, right? So I'm just love to pick on Kinja, who has just does so much and just has the coolest life, really unnecessarily cool all around. So here we BB2, we're just going to add in these heights. So 10% height and 50% width for BB2. Ooh, we saw this box jump on down here. And I don't think our buildings want to be stacked vertically. We're probably going to Ramon after my own heart saying, oh, they're good BBs. Y'all are nerds and I love it. At 10% and 55. And then just to make our lives harder, 11 and 58. We might be in the wrong div. Let's check. So it looks weird. I don't think we're in the wrong div here. It does look weird though. I think because we got to do some stuff to fix where these live. So, haha, this is saying, look, this doesn't work. This does not work for us. Right now, because of the document flow, all of these buildings are stacked on top of each other. What we need to do is go ahead and put all of them in a flex context. And the best way to do that is going to be to come way up to the parent class, these background buildings. No, somebody said apologize. Don't apologize. Being a little bit wrong or being a little bit off is absolutely the way to learn stuff. Your brain bonking into something is the whole way it learns the boundaries of things. So here we've said we're going to go ahead and make these flex blocks. We're going to remove them from the flow and give them a new paradigm. Oh, that sounds very fancy, a new paradigm. I'm going to set the display to flex. I say, hey, and by default, check this out. It says, whoop. By default, I want to go ahead and spread these out horizontally. Okay. And I'm going to align items. And oh, and I said, okay, these are buildings. So it felt weird for them to be up top. Could you please squish them at the bottom? Put them at the end of the flex box. Cool, cool, cool. We're going to justify our content. And that's how we want to space things out. That's going to be super chill. Oh, heck, and the nice thing is none of this can hurt us. It's just teaching. We're going to space. And this one, I really like this because this gives us a really good idea of what this is going to do. Space in. Oh, space evenly. And I say, hey, can you go ahead and I've got these different items. Can you just space them out evenly? That'd be really cool. We got a green stripe on that. I think we're going to go through and put BB1, AB, BB2. I think we're going to make these little boxes inside our other buildings, huh? Oh, it says these are 2 build out. Okay. So we're going to add 2 empty divs on top of the background buildings and to the hang on. We're going to squish them together by adding some more empty divs. Cool, cool, cool. 2 at the top of background buildings, 2 at the bottom, and 1 in between 3 and 4. Okay. Sorry, did you see me just like absolutely quit with the instructions? So, just an empty div? Nothing, doesn't need a class or anything? That got weird fast. Okay, so it just wants an empty div, it says. So no, maybe classes in the next one. So it wants 2 at the top. We come down. It says 2 at the bottom. And then 1 in between 3 and 4. Okay, it's sort of doing a little bit of spacing. Yeah. Kinja, I think this might be it as well. Since it's going to space it evenly, the empty div sort of like a little space. Let's see. And Mitch is like, look, they're just for spacing. We don't need to do nothing fancy to it. I see a fabulous student saying, you know what? Flexbox. I need 2 divs between them. Oh, you go here. See, naming these like these. Oh, look. And I don't know if you can see. Oh, you can't see it at all. I'm going to. So you can't see it all because of the way the screen's set, but there's the tiniest little square dots down here at the bottom. Yeah, so Dominique is saying, hey, we can still see a little bit of those. It's just that little default space. Oh, Joseph, if you're seeing this as a bit blurry, you may want to refresh where you're viewing it. Check our code. We've got that green stripe. Everything's chill. Nothing's wrong. All right, this is the power of variables, isn't it? We're going to create a new variable called background color 2. Where should we do that? And give it the value of... Oh, so this one says below the other. Let's talk about where else we could put these. So here we're putting them in our background color, our back BB1s. If I wanted to make if I didn't have a huge project, I'd probably put all of these in background buildings just so they're more widely accessible. Where am I? Where are we? So we're going to create a background color too. And remember, I'm just going to talk you through it again. When we create a variable, you're making a box. So the dash dash is me saying, I am making a box. And here, this box, I'm right. Oh, heck. That's what I get for copying and pasting. So dash dash building color 2 is saying, I'm making a box. And now I'm naming it background color 2. This is the name of my box. And now I'm going to set that to the hex code. And some people are magicians. They just know what the color is going to be, but I don't. We're going to set it to the hex code of 66CC99. Ooh, which is a very lurid green. Again, we're not seeing it pop up at all because, and who am I going to pick on for using the right language here? I'm just going through the comments. See, that's what you get if you're very helpful and right about something. You just get picked on all the time. I think, oh, heck. So Ramia, when you were saying we're going to declare the variable, and that's what we did right here. Here we declared the variable, and now we're going to call it. We're going to call it for BB2. And you know what? I'm going to copy and paste this because I'm very lazy. And I just wanted to go ahead and highlight that comment because it's so helpful to say, here we are creating a variable. Now we're going to call it BB2. I set the background color. Wasn't the 2. Oh. It felt like it didn't work, did it? Oh, do you know why it didn't work? Because the way we declare a variable is this right here, isn't it? I create a box by saying dash dash and then the name of the box and the value. But that's not how I call it, is it? I call it by saying, hey, I want you to go get a box and then getting my smooth babies out. And then I put the variable name inside, don't I? Feels like it should have worked. It looks exactly like background color above, but it hasn't worked. Let's check our code. Oh, that's wild. It says that this is correct, but nothing is turned green. Hmm. 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 Why do we think, coming in here, okay, so we created a new variable inside of BB1, and we called that variable way down here in BB2 and said, I want the background color of BB2 to be green. Let's take a look at this together. So BB1 starts here and ends here. So BB1 ends, but BB2 begins right after it. BB2, Logan, perfect. Logan is saying, hey, is this the scope issue we talked about before? And that's and Mitch is saying this in a different way that's still really helpful to say, oh, no, it's a different building. This building is not a child of BB1. Yeah. Just run I'm going to check my code. It's green. I'm just talking you through it. Dang, y'all. That didn't work. So we're going to learn about fallback variables. What I would do. Oh, did this not work? What? So variable name fallback. I think this didn't work because of a scope. And then our fallback here is green. Hey, it's a different green, but you know what? That's fine. And when you call a variable, a fallback value is, so let's talk through this. When I say var, I'm saying, yo, get ready to get me a box. And the curly braces are what I want you to go get. And when I say dash dash, I'm like, this is the variable name, go get me this box and use what's in the box. And then I could add a comma and say, hey, look, cool. If you can't find this box, or if this box is broken, I'm not pissed off. Just go ahead and use this backup instead. Oh, so Kai's saying, I wish we knew why it wasn't working. And I think we know why it's not working. So it's not working because the variable is being declared here in BB1. So that's where we created this variable. And that means we can use this variable inside where it's created in this element or in any of our children. And that would work. And let's see this working. Where we're trying to use it here, BB2 is not a parent of BB1. BB1 has no idea what variables were created in BB1. Like you don't inherit, like your siblings don't inherit things in programming. Yeah. Do you know what, Jeff? That's really helpful. Jeff is suggesting let's maybe say use instead of call for variables. Thank you. Let's check our code. We've got that backup working as well. Let's create another variable before the one in building. Okay. This one's not going to work either. Building color 3, and we're going to set the hex of CC 699. Is it pink? It's kind of a dusty pink. I'd like that. And here we're going to go ahead and use it in building 3, and we're going to set a background color of pink. And that's giving us a pretty good hint that this is just not going to work, is it? We say var. So, hey, go get me that box. And this is the box I want. And immediately we see that not working. And that's okay. We got a background color here of pink. Not the same pink, but it's the same general vibe. Haha. Look at the spoilers I give y'all. I said, you know what? This didn't work because these variables were declared in BB1, whereas BB2 and BB3 and BB4, they don't know anything about these variables. Wild. So this is me saying, cool. Hey, remember earlier when I said I really like to put my variables up as high as possible if the program's not too, if the project's not that big. So if the project's not that big, I like to put my variables up as high as possible just to make them universally available. So we're going to use the root pseudo selector. And the root pseudo selector just means everything within the HTML tags. It's wild. Where are we? So I'm going to take my variables. Oh, I've got you right here where we've declared them. And I'm going to use Command X to cut them. Oh, ooh, why did this work? So these two are still green and pink because their backup colors are available. Whereas our BB1 has no background color available. We're going to put all of these in root. Everything's fine. Everything's going to be fine. We've moved them all the way up. So BB1, this is like giving it to BB1's mom's mom. So it went as high up on the boss chain as it could. And now everybody can inherit these. We've got a green stripe. This is chill. Everything's chill. Okay, now that we've worked the bugs out, and these are the kind of bugs you're going to hit in the wild, isn't it? Saying the wild for programming always sounds like I'm going to send you out there to fist fight bears, and that's not true. So now that these are working, we could get rid of these fallback values. I mean, I personally wouldn't, but we can get rid of them, and this will still work. Ooh, Mitch. So is this the cascading part of the cascading style sheet? It does feel like that's a relevant point here, that the sort of these things are coming. I think the cascading is more about how stuff is arranged in the document. Yeah, but this is quite good. Everything's fine and everything's going to be fine. We've got this green stripe. So let's make a building color 4. Let's do it. Let's go wild. Let's put it in the root selector this time, because Free Code Camp taught us this very valuable lesson of not trusting Free Code Camp. And one thing I really want to assure you all is I've hired so many programmers who've just done Free Code Camp in their own projects. This is a really great resource. I love it. Where are we? Where are we? So here I want it 53. Building color 4 is going to be set to the hex code 53.8. I don't know what color this is going to be. Ooh, that's quite nice so far. CC6. Oh, these are all quite good. These are sort of candy colored ones. And building color 4, unsurprisingly, we're going to take a deep breath. Whew, and come all the way down to the end of our code. And we're going to use that to set the background color. Heck. We're going to use that to set the background color to a variable with our smooth braces of building. And that draws it out as this nice purple color. Yeah. Everything's chill. Let's keep bopping. So these background colors look extremely cool. And so we've made these background colors. I'm doing it backwards. Sorry. I'm doing it relative to me instead of relative to the camera. We've made these background buildings. And now it says rad, rad, rad. Let's do the same thing with these foreground buildings. And while I do these, if anybody has any questions while we go ahead. Let me get CSS. Yeah, just because I think this cascading part of this is going to be very good. Or is this going to explain the cascading part? There we are. The name Cascade. Oh, you know what? I've made this teeny. It's always a little bit nauseating to flip. So let's talk about this. The name cascading comes from the specified priority scheme to determine which style applies if there's more than one rule. Oh, a little bit more on the font size. Whoop. There we go. I'm going to drop this in. And this is something where I don't think we've talked about it very specifically yet. We will before the end of the class. But the general rule for CSS is if there's two styles that crash. So if I say make all of my divs pink, but then I say make BB, let's do this. Let's do this in real time. So here, I want to do some weird stuff with styles. I want to set a selector rule for divs. Okay. I'm going to set the background color of all of my divs to black. Oh. But these buildings aren't black. They're divs, but they're not black. Sorry. What gives? I use the selector and I said that I want these divs to be black. Is it because, hang on, is it because that I said this at the top? What happens if I take this div, this rule, and I move it to the bottom? We get the exact same thing. And Logan's got the right idea. So one of these has more priority than the other. And you're so close that I hate to say, 90%. It's that class selectors overrule type selectors. So I like to think of these as Pokemon, which is not for folks who've never encountered Pokemon, I'm sorry. Whereas a type selector is like a Pichu, like a little tiny cute baby Pokemon, not very powerful. So if you get a type selector and a class selector, which is like a Pikachu, a big baby, they're gonna bonk into each other, and the Pikachu's gonna win. It's more powerful. But if you have a class selector and an ID selector, which is even my hand's only this big, which is even bigger and more powerful, that's like a Raichu. If those two crash, the ID is going to win. So cascading is sort of this cascading rule of superiority over each other. And just remember that the more specific something is, the more powerful it is as a Pokemon. So it's rarer to find a Raichu in the wild than it is to find a Pikachu. I understand that that's a terrible analogy because it's not very common to find a Pichu, but stick with me. I should have gone for a starter Pokemon. Oof. Yeah. So Ramia's like, hey, in this case, our variable colors is a higher priority because it's being attached to. Oh no, you're describing. Sorry, I thought you were talking about cascading. You're talking about fallbacks. So somebody had asked, what's a fall? Alex, like, hey, what's a fallback value? And we got you. This is chill. And Ramya is answering so much better than I could. And Ramya is saying, well, when we use a fallback value comes into play when we use a variable and the variable doesn't work. For example, our variable color is, and this is perfect. So when we say, hey, I want to use this variable and this fallback, first it'll try and use the variable. But if it can't use the variable for some reason, it's going to use the fallback instead, kind of like an understudy. Please, please, please. So Mitch is saying, I'm going to use this in an interview talking about Pokemon for CSS. Should I write a blog post? Hang on, I'm just adding CSS specificity. Pokemon blog post. Sorry, I use a paper and pen to-do system. And if I don't write it down right now, it will never happen. Okay. Oh no, if I do this, I have to fix my website first. How about I stream fixing my website after we're done with the boot camp, and then I'll have some blog posts for it. Fabulous. I haven't. This is the most person in tech thing to do, but I don't think I've updated my website since like 2019. I'll fix it. So I'm going to be cruel to you all and leave you with a ton of homework because this is a huge, huge thing. But the big things I wanted to talk about is I wanted to talk about inheritance and scope, which is really important. And I wanted to talk about variables. Actually, do you know what? Let's take a look at this really fast because there's still tons of this. Oh, it's such a big project. I'm so mean. But the very last project is our personal portfolio webpage. After we finish that, after we're done with streams for the bootcamp, I'll go ahead and update my personal portfolio website. Yeah. Platypus, right? Fixing website, later. Can we talk about another tech term that comes up sometimes called yak shaving? And yak shave, I didn't mean to put compliments up on the screen. So yak shaving is this tech concept where there's like a endless accordion or an almost endless accordion of things to do. And I'll give you my example. I want to fix my website. But if I'm going to fix my website, and the way people talk about this is, I want to shave a yak. And for non-English speakers, a yak is like a big outside cow. All cows live outside. I know they're like big fluffy babbies. Yay! So a yak is like a big outside cow. And we talk about yak shaving for these other chores that come out of wanting to do something because shaving a yak would take a lot of tasks. Hey, I want to shave a yak. Weird. Okay. I don't know where this came from. But first I have to go get a yak. I don't know what kind of sounds they make. They look like big fluffy cows, so I assume it's a moo. So we got to go get it. We have to get a yak. Okay. Well, a yak's going to wander away if I try and shave it because that's weird and yaks are bigger than me. So I probably need a rope. Okay. Well, if I need a rope, I need like a spike or a ring to tie the rope to the yak to the fabulous. But if I have a spike to put in the ground, I'm going to need a hammer for the spike. I'll need a hammer for the spike, for the rope, for the yak. And it's that we get more and more challenges. If there are any German speakers, is there a thing in German with owned items like possessives? The feather of the cap of the captain of the navy of the country. So that kind of thing, this sort of spiraling out. It's a weird linguistic thing. And yak shaving's like this. So I would love to fix my website, but if I'm going to fix my website, I need to change my hosting provider because mine sucks. Oh, and then I need to get the DNS switched over, which we'll talk. Let's not talk about DNS yet. Then I need to pick a new platform for blogging. Then I need to. So just it's going to be a yak shavy project to fix my website. And then Platypus makes another point to say, oh, there's another term that's really useful, which is bike shedding. And we've talked about this a little bit. And bike shedding is when you need to do a project, but you get distracted by weird things that aren't actually that important. So I say, oh, I need to fix my website. I'm going to spend a lot of time thinking about what color the footer should be. It's like building a school. And instead of saying, oh, where do we put the classrooms? Where do we put the bathrooms? Saying, we need some place to park the bikes. What color should we paint those? And spending all our time and energy on that. You all are perfect and incomparable and wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and let all of you go. Kinjal makes a good point. Let's concentrate on the big picture. But that's advice for you all, not for me. I don't have to fix my website. I can yak shave and bike shed all day. All of y'all, though, have to stay focused on the big picture. As ever, do as I say, not as I do. Yeah? You are absolute gifts. I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Please have oh, wait, homework. Oh, Logan. Oh, do you know what? I love this. Oh, I'm going to steal this all the time to say, look, you know what? Let's just get this done. Let's put the yak in the bike shed. That is the best thing I've seen somebody say in a year and a day. From now on, when folks are arguing about stuff, I'm going to say, look, just put the yak in the bike shed. Let's get started. Homework. You know your homework. So try and get through as much of this as possible. It's tons. There's hundreds, but most of them are little bitty ones. And you don't have to get this done before tomorrow. I'm not a cop. I'm not your boss. And there's no deadline. Everything's fine. The big thing is keep working on your projects as you go. That's going to be really exciting. Oh, Rami is saying you've got a lot of leftover homework because you went hiking last week. That's perfect. I love that. That is the best way to live. Hiking is more important than programming. Thank you. Thank you. Because that's your more important homework, isn't it? To relax and to be as gentle to yourselves as possible. Barbara and Zach taught us that little chunks of learning every day are the best way to do it. But life is life. Going hiking, or I'm going to go take a nap, but doing human stuff is much more important at the end of the day. I adore all of you. I'm going to be right back at the same time tomorrow. And we're going to see each other next week as well. If you get stuck, come onto the forum, come onto the Discord. Everything's going to be fine. Bye, lovelies.